Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another Jurassic World Evolution 2 video. Now, with Thursday's release of the Prehistoric Marine Species Pack, a lot of questions have raised regarding Jurassic World Evolution 2's future. Questions varying from what will the next DLC be, all the way to was this the last DLC? Of course, that's a whole other topic for a whole different video in itself, but I do want to focus on one of those questions today, and that is of course, what will the next DLC be, and why I personally believe it will be a hybrid DLC. I would just quickly like to shout out a smaller channel though, because we did come off having similar ideas, so I don't want to at all make it look like I'm copying him. His name's Matt Sebo. He did a really good video on this yesterday. I do recommend you watching it. It's not strictly a hybrid DLC video, but it does have some pretty good ideas in it, and I do recommend you watch it. The link will be in the description. But with that being said, in the recent videos the support's been crazy, so if you do go on to enjoy today's video, please do consider liking and subscribing, and let me know down in the comments what you think the next DLC for Jurassic World Evolution 2 is gonna be. Now, for anyone that did play Jurassic World Evolution, you may well remember a DLC that was called the Secrets of Dr. Wu DLC. In my opinion, this is one of the better DLCs of Jurassic World Evolution, as it introduced us to 3 new hybrids as well as the Troodon. The hybrids themselves were kinda controversial in the community, as they were formerly known as the Lydia hybrids, because they were essentially stripped right out of the mobile Jurassic World game. Of course, these hybrids were the Spinoraptor, Stegoceratops and Ankylodocus. However, when you transition from Jurassic World Evolution to Jurassic World Evolution 2, one of the things you'll probably notice is how the majority of the DLC dinosaurs that came in the first game were added for free in Jurassic World Evolution 2. However, really the only missing species from the first game is the hybrids. That being with the exception of obviously the Indoraptor and Indominus Rex. 2 years on from the release of Jurassic World Evolution 2, and we still have no clear-cut answer as to why they were cut. We can only assume it is because of the controversy. However, one thing's for sure, and that's that people do miss the Spinoraptor above all of the creatures. And I honestly wouldn't put it past Frontier if they did add some of these creatures back, and I'll explain why. Now, this is where my video kinda cuts into Mount Sebo's video, so I will just, again, refer to his video from yesterday. The link will be in the description. I do really recommend you check it out. Anyways, if you've been following Jurassic World Evolution 2 since launch, you'll know that DLCs come roughly every 3 to 4 months. This cycle's only really been broken once, and that was when the first DLC released, I think it was a month or maybe even just a few weeks after the game released. I'm not sure on that one, but I will let you know down in the comments. Again, there's no real reason as to why it released so soon after the game's launch. I can only assume it was because of the game's pretty poor marketing, but, again, that's not strictly relevant to today's video. However, I do have a little theory that could propose that we might be getting a few more DLCs sooner than we think. Now, I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here, but for those of you that don't know, the financial year for companies ends in April. I'd imagine you're questioning the relevance of this, but it actually has quite a bit of relevance, and that's that when companies are, considering the marketing for their games, they kinda imagine it differently to your average calendar, as they'll do it from whenever their launch is to April. So essentially for a company, the end of their year is in April because that's the end of their financial year. So of course that's 8 months away from now, so we can imagine that Frontier, or more broadly Universal, are going to want to squeeze out as much money as they can, so that financial report can look as good as possible. Now, this is relevant because actively, to my knowledge, there's only one Jurassic project in the works at Universal, and even then it's not fully been announced. So really the only active source of income for Universal in terms of Jurassic is probably Jurassic World Evolution 2. Again, I'm sure there's something out there, but off the top of my head, Jurassic World Evolution 2 is all I can really think of. So of course, in typical Universal fashion, they're going to want to squeeze out as much money out of Jurassic World Evolution 2 as they can. And if you do the maths correctly, 8 months, that's at least 2 DLCs if we're going off the, typical Frontier timeline. I don't really know what you'd call it. However, if Jurassic World Evolution 2 is coming to the end of its life cycle, I think it makes more sense that it would end at the financial year, being April next year, as opposed to December this year. I just think from a financial perspective, that makes more sense, as it does of course mean they can still add several more DLCs before the game ends, so of course they can squeeze out as much money as possible. With that in mind, I think it makes perfect sense that this coming October we could get another DLC. I do believe this for multiple reasons. The first being that it's definitely open for debate, but a lot of people are saying that Update 7 broke more than it fixed, and to some extent I kind of agree. So I would imagine that we're going to get at least another patch relatively soon, but it also makes sense that we get an update that just sorts everything and of course includes some new stuff, potentially a DLC. Which brings me back to how soon we got that first DLC after the game launched. It shows that while there's definitely some sort of schedule at Frontier, it doesn't always apply. And secondly, I think it makes perfect sense to introduce a hybrid DLC in and around Halloween time, as hybrids are now kind of the main scare factor of Jurassic Park. I kind of want to say that is obviously debatable, but I mean, in my eyes, when you think of to date Jurassic Park sort of scare factor, I think hybrids are definitely up there. And I think from a timing perspective, it just makes perfect sense, as they could give us the old hybrids for free in a free update alongside some new ones. I do think it would be incredibly scummy of them to make us pay for dinosaurs that already have animation rigs and were in the old game that we probably already paid for, so I can't really imagine them doing that. If they did, I'd definitely be a bit disappointed, but again, here's to hoping if we did get a Hybrid October DLC, I reckon the free update would include the old hybrids and there'd be some sort of paid DLC featuring some new hybrids. Just hope that if that is the case, it's not just copy and paste Lydia hybrids again. I would quite like to see some Frontier made hybrids, as while we've definitely had some questionable designs from Frontier in the past, there's also been some absolute gems. Take the Styxosaurus for example, so it'd definitely be interesting to see what Frontier's animation team could cook up with the potential hybrid DLC. And then of course that does leave, what, 6 months from that point for maybe another DLC or two, and then at the end of the financial year is when Universal could sit down with Frontier and be like, listen, we've squeezed this game for as much money as possible, we don't want to continue development on it. Or they could, be actually quite happy with how much the game's made and say, you know what, we'll continue it on for another year. And I think that's how it's probably going to go. If Frontier don't see JWE2 as a profitable thing to endorse anymore, they'll just call it quits, kind of like they did with Jurassic World Evolution. But I hope they definitely handle it differently, as the way that JWE kind of just got stopped and we got no real updates or anything. I don't want that to be the case again, as that was actually kind of depressing, as we didn't know whether or not to expect anything and development just kind of halted. But with that being said, JWE2 is easily a very different game, and it has way more potential than the initial game, as well as popularity. So I'd be kind of upset if it already stopped development, but again, like I just said, it's got so much potential, it could easily go on for, potentially even another 5 years. But with that being said, that does just about wrap up today's video. If you have enjoyed, please do consider liking and subscribing. And as I've said multiple times in today's video, please do check out Mount Sibo's video. I don't want to come off looking scummy like I've copied him. I have had this video planned for like a couple days now, so yeah, definitely check out his video. It will be linked in the description. And let me know down in the comments some hybrids you'd like to see in Jurassic World Evolution 2. And also, I was supposed to be dropping my Prehistoric Marine Species Pack review today. I might still get it out today, it depends. I've still got to edit it and I am quite preoccupied today, so if that doesn't come out today, it will come out either over the weekend or Monday. You shall see very soon. But with that being said, thanks for watching, and I do hope to catch you in the next one.